I don't know if the rest of you have noticed. Dominique, I don't know if you've seen this Mike Ryan before. Greg Cody certainly has, and has some issues with this Mike Ryan. Mike Ryan, who is not allowed to speak into a microphone after the Panthers win like that, and Marchand does that, and Ethan's echoing "eat shit Mike Ryan," has been around for 3 days, makes for an aggressive Mike Ryan. And he was just screaming and yelling about something that ended with him ranting at you and me.
Yeah.
Soup. You guys started with soup yesterday. And then Jeremy jumps in, giant omission yesterday in the soup category.
My voice has rarely been missed on this show,
say the soup.
but never been missed more than yesterday.
That's good executive producing right there.
Matzo
right
ball
there.
soup, okay?
Right
It was
there.
blatant anti-Semitism.
That is how you do executive producing. He always starts with the broadcastery slow jog sing song.
You got your ass,
transition.
Jeremy. You got your ass.
That's how you EP.
Hey, Jeremy. I like it. A little foreplay. Warm it up. Let's get us right, man. Just
Yeah,
get
foreplay
us,
guy.
Get us in the mood.
He gets mad at us in the middle of that and accuses us of anti-Semitism.
I mean, you're going to leave matzo ball soup off the list,
Not
Dan?
thick enough.
Never
Not
had it.
thick enough.
Never had it.
The matzo itself
Wait a
is
second,
great.
chicken noodles. How am I falling into this trap?
It's a good conversation.
It is, and I know we did the whole show after a Super Bowl where we didn't talk about the Super Bowl, but people do come to us for Panther talk, right? And I know you got this thing where you're like, the audience is, always going to push back against hockey. Those people left, dog. They left. Well, we've been talking hockey for years around these parts. So, yeah, after the Panthers win Game 3, 6-1, and everyone's fighting, and Jonah Gadjevich becomes a superstar with his reactions, maybe, just maybe that day.
Nope. You guys respect hockey too much, and you did this with McGregor. You denied me the billboards, and I'm not going to let you keep winning.
McDavid, that's a fine.
Your team
McDavid.
Your team can keep
He said
winning.
McGregor.
Connor.
I'll pay the fine. Don't start the show yet. I'll pay the fine.
I was back here complaining about it, and Chris was like, "You're a chili guy, I guess," which I am. It's
Clearly
hard.
a chili guy.
Wendy's chili, especially.
Look, we're
My mic's not on.
Oh, that's a shame.
I mean, ridiculous.
It was on, but we started
First,
the
my
show.
topics aren't up, and now my mic's not
okay.
on.
Listen,
Ridiculous.
don't start the show yet.
Terminate.
I can't do a show with this Mike Ryan and old matzo balls over here. I can't. I can't do it this way.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
3 good questions just asked in rat-a-tat-tat fire between Greg Cody and Dominique Foxworth. Is jambalaya a soup?
No.
Is
not even
gumbo a soup?
This might be the stew category.
Closer.
Is chili? Can chili be a soup?
Hold on. He said stew. Where does stew fit? Is stew separate or like a separate phylum altogether? Or is stew underneath the soup? Is stew a version of soup?
Stew is more hearty.
Yeah. Thicker, eats like a meal.
So none of those are soups?
Well, jambalaya is not even close. I mean, that's not even
It could
the
be
same
made
category.
soupy. I guess it'd be poorly if it was made soupy. But gumbo feels like a soup. It feels pretty close to a seafood soup.
Depends on where you get it. Sometimes it's mostly rice.
But I guess I'm not sure if a stew is a soup. I guess also, just a rule of thumb, never trust a stew.
What?
How have you never had
Can't trust the
matzo
stew.
ball soup? That's true. And when you say stew's in a separate category and it's apart, it's at God Bless Football. And you should check out that channel right now. It's new and it's great. He's got a new studio, and the only reason that he's not here is because he's working hard for football season so that God Bless Football could be a larger business than it presently is.
You just said Stugotz and the words working hard in the same sentence. That's impressive.
Well, he's got something that's his now. He owns something that's his, and he's building it out. And you should check out and subscribe to his channels because it's Stugotz and it's God Bless Football, and he's growing both of them with his own studios. Mike, have you seen those studios?
They're very nice, very pristine.
I don't know where that is. Is that closer to his home?
It's in Jacksonville, yeah.
So Stugotz will be back soon, but in the interim, we've got Dominique Foxworth here ruining the show by starting with soups. When, Mike, if you want to have at the microphones, I'm going to have to try and pull you in on a leash because you're crazy. Because you're 2 games from the Cup, and it's an insane time, and you weren't on the show yesterday, and you had a lot of critiques about the show yesterday that were aggressive.
Well, give the people what they want. Look, you know me on air, and I've kind of toned it down because people don't like that. If they're excited about a sport, I don't want to just be a one-trick pony and take the air out of it. So when Game 1 of the NBA Finals happens, I bone up on it. And Tyrese Halliburton hit a game-winning shot. I got to come with stats. I'm hosting. I got to give the people what they want. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, an excellent Stanley Cup Final, I might add. You give the people what they want. You become a destination program for people either wanting to learn about this or locals wanting Panther coverage. And some of these people might not be wise to the shtick of this show. So you don't push them away with 5 minutes of soup talk.
This is where I disagree with you, and this is where you're becoming the thing that we used to rail against. I always want to start with soup, and I don't care what's happening in sports, but you respect this sport more than most. You care about this team more than most. Your connection to the personality of this team, I've only seen now with like basketball because of your investment. You started your career with this team, and you're frustrated that this show only talks about it with McDavid's overrated.
Right. Well, it's bad. We are limited in scope, but I would say that we are probably identified as the biggest Florida Panthers podcast in terms of talking about them the most. We are a pro-Panthers program, and there are a lot of people curious. There's a lot of abuelas and abuelos that may not be into podcasts or may not even be into hockey, but this is captivating a market that realizes this team's been to 3 straight Stanley Cup Finals, and after Game 3, when people are excited, maybe, just maybe, give the people what they want.
If you don't want to start with soup, would you prefer to start with salad?
Depends on the
mozzarella sticks. Or
mozzie sticks, I'm down too. I'm also not a big soup guy when it's this hot. It's not even soup season.
Wasn't
having this discussion.
odd time of year for us to start soup.
When is soup season in South Florida? Is there a South Florida soup season?
Yeah, when it becomes warm. Right now, it's hotter than Beelzebub's ball sack. But like when it's just warm, that's soup season.
Soup season is when you get sick and your abuela goes to Sergio's or La Carreta and gets you sopita de pollo, which is also top tier soup. I got it for my wife yesterday. She wasn't feeling well. Got her sopita de pollo. All of a sudden, locked in.
Also, it's why the anti-Semitism claim is valid. Yes. Because you just went at matzo ball soup for not being thick enough. But probably the most famous soup is chicken noodle soup, and that is not thick.
I was not willing to put chicken soup in the category of meal the way lobster bisque and clam chowder and even French onion soup were.
I had regrets. I have regrets after shows, and normally I flush them. It's one of the biggest regrets. I'm not going to be able to sleep for a long time that I allowed you guys to disparage the king of soups. Chicken noodle? It's the king of soups, man.
Chicken noodle. No, boring.
What?
Yeah.
Boring chicken noodle.
And also, like Jeremy,
vanilla.
On behalf of Italians, where's Italian wedding?
Yeah, come on.
You're getting close. The best soup ever is sausage and lentil, which is in the neighborhood with the
No, I'm with my dad on this. Strong.
You're saying that chicken noodle soup is bland. You're appalled by what he's alleging here. At Le Batard Show, is chicken noodle soup the king of all the soups?
No.
Sausage and lentil? What is that?
You guys don't know good soup.
What am I, a horse? If you're slop?
You guys are showing your ass right now. If you're mocking that soup,
Chris,
you guys are dumb.
I don't doubt that Greg's sausage and lentil soup is amazing.
Thank you.
But I think if 100 people surveyed, Family Feud style, I don't think sausage and lentils making the board.
They haven't had it. They haven't eaten my sausage and lentil soup.
You are 0-3 in cooking competitions.
Yeah, but who's
here.
counting?
I will never eat your sausage nor your lentils, sir.
Wow.
But remember when he had his Thanksgiving leftover soup? And that wasn't a competition. That was one of the more delicious things I've
really
ever
good.
had.
Yeah, I can make some soup.
I'm sorry.
You're an anti-Semite. You've never had matzo ball soup.
I haven't. I apologize. We're going to change that today.
But Jeremy's wrong.
Let's get some.
All right, let's get him some.
Give me some matzo balls.
It's good.
There's got to be a deli around the corner.
It is good, but you
In
will.
Miami?
You will say, I believe, that this is not. It does not rise to the level that we're talking about of a creamy, decadent soup.
I will not, because I've already been accused of anti-Semitism. I can tell you right now that no matter what this soup tastes like, I'm going to say it's delicious.
Okay, so the thing that I'm getting stuck on is, I guess the distinction I'm making is, in order for a soup to be a meal, it doesn't really come with broth. it's got to be a cream. It's got to be, unless I'm going French onion, in which case I'm slathering a bunch of stuff in there, including giant gobs of cheese.
But see, this is why matzo ball soup is perfect for you, Dan, because you get all of the joys of chicken noodle soup, but that matzo ball gives you that thickness that you're looking for that turns it into a full meal, because now not only are you getting the protein in the chicken, but you're getting the carbs with the matzo ball, and it doesn't rise to anything. It's matzo.
I've never seen Chris Cody so indignant as to call you dumb to your face because you did not respect.
These guys were mocking it.
You looked right in his eyes.
I'll accept it.
You looked right.
But Tony hit the white guy. That offended me too. He hit the white guy's sounder.
I also said, well, I'm not a horse. I'm not going to eat whatever that slop is.
It was mainly at Tony. I may have been looking at Dom, but it was really Tony.
I felt it. I felt it.
I saw your side eye, and I thought it was going at Dom, but it wasn't. It was wrapping around your head.
It's just a good soup. And I know good food, so like I will just not sit here and let you guys.
Well, this is the indignance. What happened there was the indignance. Is I've never seen a more confident you. You stepped in with my wheelhouse. No one will speak ill of the sausage and lentil. It was handed down from my father.
Little sausages, delightful.
It was handed down from my father, who does cook a good sausage. I will give him that.
Thank you.
But somebody said here, nominated for an Italian soup, something other than minestrone. I thought minestrone.
Italian wedding.
Wedding, yeah.
Okay,
Little meatballs.
So you guys, so as an Italian soup, you like the Italian wedding more than minestrone on behalf of the Italians?
I'm the only Italian here, right? Yep. I'll speak for Italians. I prefer Italian wedding.
Good soup.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah. Is it a meal?
It's pretty hearty.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah, you take all the leftover macaroni,
got a little thickness to it.
But you are just nominating right now. We closed the category yesterday with 3 soups that were allowed to be a meal, and a lot of people were saying French onion had to get out of there, that the only meals you could go with were clam chowder and lobster bisque as meals.
Well, then what do you do with pho?
Oh yeah. Now that's a meal.
Well, if we're going into the Asian soups, Tom Yum.
That's good too. We like that. Yep.
Pho wasn't even nominated yesterday.
Well, you could have used me.
Tell you
what a bad idea this was.
Well, you're pissed off because this is what.
Look at us. A day removed from Game 3. Now we can talk soup.
There's plenty of time for us to decide when we talk soup around here.
Got NBA Finals tonight, too. Big game tonight.
We're doing 3 shows in 24 hours.
Yeah, we are.
We are going to be here. So less people complain they're not getting enough of us. Hey!
I have Kane's insight today for the people that want to talk super regional.
Also, it's got to do alley-oop after that.
That's right. What we're doing tonight with Mero at 8 p.m., we are doing his pregame show to alley-oop. So there's a lot. Over the next 24 hours, it's going to be more content from the show than any time since Freedom, I think. And it's because we're celebrating everything that's happening around here, including the NHL final, which has been majestic. But, Mike, when you say we did a disservice to the audience, I'm promising you that while many people are here newfound for the coverage of the Panthers, who are champions and are enduring kind of excellent, there are many people being put off by how much this show suddenly talks about hockey when this has never been a hockey show. In the last 30 years, it's never been a hockey show.
Right, and you, I think you're, excuse me, that's a fine, programmed by doing radio in this market where Panthers legitimately was a tune-out. We've been doing this, and it's not just the 3 years of the Cup run. They won the President's Trophy before that. They were in the playoffs the year before that. I think maybe our ESPN time period was the period where we talked the least amount of hockey. When we were local, we'd end every show with Randy Moeller, and we'd do goal calls. We talk hockey on this show. Panther hockey is synonymous with this show to a lot of people, and I understand speaking for an audience, and there's always going to be those commenters there, but if they haven't left by now, they ain't leaving. And the people that threatened to leave, they actually did, because this has been several years in the making.
I mean, you beat the drum at a Panthers game. How can this not be identified as a Panthers?
Come on, man. We're talking a lot of Panthers hockey.
They're in the final.
Not enough.
But not enough.
I would argue either.
Like 5 shows.
I would argue let's either talk soup or let's talk Panthers. Let's not talk about us talking about Panthers.
Great. You are
locked in.
Locked in.
Wow. That is good leadership.
Locked in.
So, Chris Cody, tell us, what's the show missing as an ingredient? This is your soup. When you ask me, where is the soup? Every time Canada and hockey comes to South Florida, the trophy gets stuck in our swampy soup. Where's the soup? What's soup season in South Florida? It's sweating from my forearms. It's soupy down here. And it's where the cup resides. How would you like to talk about the Florida Panthers? How would you like to celebrate? We don't do pregame shows, and they don't play another game until tomorrow night.
That's dumb.
No, I like that.
I don't like that the biggest break is when they're all in Florida. Shouldn't the biggest break be when they're commuting from to and from?
That's
Yeah,
good though. Like, get them out there on the
Important
beach.
question.
Go to the
I mean,
beach,
that-
guys. Have a nice off day.
important
Have a
question.
nice off day in Miami.
That is brutal that they're going from Thursday in Sunrise to Saturday in Edmonton. That's brutal.
Preach, brother.
I mean, seriously, that should not be allowed. That's when you need a 2-day
Definitely
break.
can't hear me.
But I'm bringing together the two sides
going.
here by speculating
amazing.
on what is Brad Marchand's favorite soup. I think that's what we need to talk about.
I think the real debate is how do you pronounce his last name?
Marchand.
We can't
No,
agree.
Shand.
I've heard Marchand more
It's
from
Marchand.
people, from Canadians in the know.
I've thought it's Marchand because it feels like it should have a French flourish
It does.
underneath
Yeah,
it.
he is Canadian.
I don't think. I mean, based on the stereotypes of the French, I feel like Marchand does not give off French. Gives off physical.
Also, Greg, do they give pronunciations? Is it Lusterinen or Lusterinen? I've heard both.
I think Lusterinen, no? That's all I've heard.
Well, this is good coverage, I think, to
Yeah.
check in with the champions and figure out how to
I
pronounce
think-
their names in
Yes.
Game 4 of the final.
I have a question that will bring everyone together. It'll bring the soups and the hockeys into one place. If you had the Stanley Cup for one night, what soup would you eat out of?
Let me see what soups have been eaten out of
Isn't
it.
that the same game as what's your favorite soup?
Shh, I was tricking them. Come on, you are too
but
much
at
on
least-
your game today, baby.
Yeah.
You are too much on your
You as the voice of the audience.
I don't like what's going on over
This
here.
is good EPing by
You're
you.
a bumbling producer. That's
know
your
what-
role.
We don't know what to do with you getting in there urgently with good judgment. We're genuinely confused by it.
throwing me.
Get my man a gummy.
Don Batard.
My wife says this is a sexy voice.
It really is.
Yeah,
I'm hard.
thank you. Wow.
Stugotz.
So am I, actually. I don't know why.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I want to get to what is happening with USA Soccer because this, locally we do care about soccer, though we probably don't talk about that seriously enough either for Mike's liking.
I think we meet the moment when it's World Cup time. Our show does a good job with that.
Well, World
1
Cup
year away.
World Cup is approaching, and we're about to get embarrassed in Miami by what's happening with this FIFA. They're promising a sold-out stadium, and there's just no way that they understand what Miami is if they think that on a night where you're going to have championship Panthers, that you're going to have a situation where they get a Inter Miami, and you guys, who bet? What is the name of this other club? Forgive my
Al
ignorance
Ali,
here.
they're the most decorated club in the history of world football. They've won more trophies than any other club, more than Real Madrid. They are titans from the African continent. They are Egyptian royalty, basically. They just don't lose. Inter Miami is a club with big branding. They got, obviously, the most famous player in the world in Leo Messi, and they usually play 15 minutes from Boca in a small stadium. This is really ambitious, but the entire tournament is ambitious, and I think the tournament's going to be great. Gianni Infantino, the head of FIFA, has made a lot of promises promising that this will be a sellout at Hard Rock Stadium, a team that can occasionally sell out MLS games in a much smaller venue is now being put at Hard Rock Stadium against an Egyptian team most people don't have any connective tissue to.
Most people here, most people regionally, when you think
Right.
of South Florida and what would attract people to play against Inter Miami, it would not be African culture.
No.
It would be Hispanic culture in terms of an allegiance here in town.
Right. Now, this may turn into Four Nations, where we see this expanded edition of the Club World Cup. What a tremendous idea. What passion. But they're really swinging big here. There's plenty of reasons why this would fail. It's the first year of the tournament of this kind. It's on DAZN. Not many of the games are on Turner. There's only 24 of the games on Turner Sports. So it's a big, ambitious swing, and it's probably going to take a couple editions for this tournament to really gain traction. Another thing that's kind of looming all over this is Department of Homeland Security and ICE have already announced that they will have a presence at this game. And I don't know if you've seen the tourism numbers for America. Not great, Bob. So you're counting, a lot of this business model is counting on people traveling to the United States. They don't want to mess with this. They're watching the coverage. I'm going to be detained? There are all sorts of concerns right now about going to these games. I happen to know.
Wait a minute.
Happen to know.
Wait a minute. There's a happen to know.
Happen to know
Mike,
from.
No, that's not a I thought we were going to get imaging for when Mike's reporting happened to know.
Happen to know from a great friend of mine that is a great reporter. I don't know if he's run with this, so I'm not going to put his name out there. But he told me that FIFA employees are giving tickets away that are not part of the ticket office. And there were FIFA officials and salespeople seen at Miami-Dade College promising, hey, $20 tickets, but you also get 4 additional complimentary passes. Johnny Infantino really cares about optics. So they are going to give away as many tickets to this stadium. And if it is indeed packed, bet your bottom dollar that more than half that stadium did not pay to get in.
Whoa. That's a happen to know report? It's just going to be busing in a bunch of children, school buses of children? It's going to be like when Marlins fill their stadium with 10,000 kids on school day, so it looks like there are people there?
It's a weird... I understand why Inter Miami is opening the tournament, but opening the tournament against a club, no matter how prestigious they are in Egypt, it's not really known here. And if you're counting on Miami, which is a gateway to the Americas, a great soccer market, to be drawn to go beyond just what they usually do for Messi, you're going to need a big marquee opponent to kick things off. And that's not what they're doing. So it was a weird judgment call, I think.
The problem there, though, is that in the Egyptian opponent, like you say, they're good, but nobody knows who they are. And you don't think of Egypt when you think of world soccer, but they wanted to give Inter Miami a match that they could win. You don't want to start Inter Miami off against Real Madrid.
And I don't think they're going to win it. This is a good club.
No,
Leo
you're
Messi
right.
was playing a rock fight of a match against Colombia yesterday, played the entire game. And Inter Miami's got a lot of people leaving for international duty. They're coming in here. Meanwhile, this Egyptian club's been in South Florida for a while, acclimating. It's going to be very difficult. I think this competition is going to be more cagey than people anticipate because of so many different calendars.
Mike, you going bottom dollar betting and cagey in your analysis of the grit of caring about soccer in this town. Cody, you covered the original Fort Lauderdale Strikers, okay? You know what they're trying to build here. The idea that stadium is going up near the airport is an asinine construction that Messi, I doubt, will ever get to. And wow, what a ripoff that'll end up being if all that happened here makes for a stadium near the airport where they keep trying to grow an MLS thing that will be harder to grow without Messi, because they were trying to grow it in Boca. How many seats do they have in that stadium that you're talking about going 10 times the size, 8 times the size if you're trying to fill this stadium? What's the difference? What's
the
capacity?
Soccer seating at Hard Rock Stadium, I think, is
60,
just around 70.
Is it that
around.
high? Okay,
Yeah,
I was going
around
to say 64.
Around 70.
Okay.
And while Messi is out of contract at the end of the MLS season, teammates have extended. The expectation is that he does see Miami Freedom Park open next season. We'll see. I haven't done
It has the
reporting on
potential to be a calamity, okay? Giving a lot of public land to a soccer franchise when soccer has never worked successfully in the market, and this is the most giant of swings that's ever been taken. It's Messi. It's trying to bring the world and the World Cup to South Florida with a watch party that, Mike, you're saying is going to be filled with a bunch of people who aren't actually caring about the event they're at.
No. I think this watch party, you must care. You have to care about
We're gonna
soccer.
be super caring about it.
If you're going to show up at Grails, and thanks to Boost Mobile for partnering up with DraftKings to bring this event there, if you're going to Grails this Saturday to watch the Club World Cup, you love soccer. This is a market that I'd venture to say more people love soccer than hockey. Keep in mind, Grails is a sports bar. I imagine there's going to be a TV with the local hockey team playing a major game there. All of this is a big swing for FIFA. It is a big revenue cash grab, and it replaced the Confederations Cup, which was just the Confederations champion matching up to one another. And what it represented was not just a competition, but a practice round, a dress rehearsal, if you will, for the following year in the host nation. Let's make sure we have everything in order. And where the United States really flourishes compared to other countries that may not have the infrastructure and the venues, they need those dress rehearsals. The United States doesn't. However, if you look at what happened in the Copa America final a couple of years ago,
Yeah, we need that warm-up.
Let's have that one back. Now, I will say the security will be different, not just because of what happened, but that was CONMEBOL running security, and South Florida really dropped the ball in allowing them to dictate things. If you've ever been to a FIFA event, they have far more security. Now, this is going to be awkward with ICE and the Department of Homeland Security.
Good times.
Yeah, so it's not just a dress rehearsal for the facility. It's also a dress rehearsal to see how this is going to look in a year, because I don't think this immigration stuff's going away. And Infantino and Donald Trump seem to be very close. Infantino's gone to the White House several times. Donald Trump calls him Johnny Soccer. And I think one of the concessions that he made was, yeah, absolutely, you can have ICE and Homeland Security at these venues.
I think one element of them struggling to sell out Hard Rock Stadium for this game is a little bit of Lionel Messi fatigue in Miami. I don't know whether you agree with that or not, but when Miami flames out in the first round of the playoffs like they did last year, when they lose in the semifinals of another big tournament just recently, I think there's an expectation of what Messi was going to bring to Inter Miami that he has not brought in terms of on-field trophies. And I think that's an element. You know, look, Inter Miami they struggle to sell out some home games. Like, they're not.
When you hear that noise, you got to lay out.
Breaking news.
Wait, Greg Cody is looking around the room. He's confused by that sound
rattled him.
as if it's in here.
Okay,
What?
I mean-
Do you know what this is, or you don't know what just happened?
Yeah,
here?
I know now.
Did you think you got Hard Network out?
Yes, I did.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Greg,
I thought
Is that
I
the
did.
first time you've heard that sound?
Greg, that's the first
That's
time.
impossible.
No, I've heard it before. I had to see the spoon hitting a pan before
Is
I
that
realized.
did Maury Povich? Is that associated with Maury
Chung.
Povich?
He's married to Connie Chung. And
No, I thought it was hard copy, right? That's not a hard copy sound?
no, I think hard copy was more like this is a current affair.
Oh, yeah. This
People
kinda-
confuse those.
Wait, Maury Povich is on with us today. This is his sound?
No, it's Connie Chung's, but he's married to Connie Chung.
Okay, we'll ask him
Women
about
are
it.
not property.
Vis-a-vis, Dan.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for that
And a
clarification.
current affair is not hard
Appreciated
copy.
in these difficult times.
What's the damn breaking news?
Thank you. A good point by you.
The Codys are dialed.
the Codys are,
Locked
yes,
in.
the Codys as a team.
Shirt Tuesday, baby. Another one.
I mean, breaking news is something you normally get to right away.
Yes.
How
So-
often do we do breaking
All right.
news?
You interrupted his thought. What's the news?
Okay, sorry.
We don't have Roy here to tell us the news, though.
Myles Garrett on Aaron Rodgers. Quote, I think it's a good opportunity to put him in the graveyard.
Whoa! We out here talking about sake and hockey and sake. And we got football.
We got Saki?
We got a little sake.
Graveyard.
I'm thirsty.
We got a graveyard.
Yeah, but sans context, people think that he wants to kill Aaron Rodgers. Now, he may actually want to kill Aaron Rodgers, but every Halloween, Myles Garrett has
All
a
the
graveyard in
QBs,
front of his
yeah.
house with all the
Yeah.
okay.
Did you not know that,
Wow,
Dan?
that's
I was
fun.
just starved for June news. It didn't matter. I wanted to have exciting
June news.
football. content.
I'm not sure. I
Juice.
think
Damn it, I missed that one.
that possibly you're right. But given Myles Garrett's history with current Steelers quarterbacks, maybe he actually wants to kill him.
A lot of people were revisiting that old Mason Rudolph thing.
Yeah.
Saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Yeah.
You are on your game today, Chris Cody. You are
Like said the
flawless.
Lotto.
Yeah.
Sing song. A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
You know, I love you as a bumbling idiot, but I can get used to this guy.
You have been in control, Chris. I don't know what to do with what has happened today. And here we're going to increase
Greg.
the degree of difficulty on you, executive producer, because now these are the hardest of lessons. We detour now into what is happening with immigration, ICE, and California.
Oh, what's happening in L.A.? Yeah, I mean...
No, hold on a second. I'm putting this in Chris's lap before we take this detour because, as you say, Mike, you've been placating the audience with, we don't do soup anymore. We're hockey covers. Well, not a lot of race or politics talk around here in the last 6 months, and it's been nice around here to not be talking about this stuff, as I've also enjoyed the relief of just sort of pushing away from what's obvious encroaching fascism and how these things began in Nazi Germany, and just the general heartbreak of watching this country, while arguing about politics or arguing about transgender and all its disguises, allows to happen daily. Something that a minority show that comes from minorities who are wildly, wildly grateful to be in this country and to have the opportunities of this country, to be turned into the other with rubber bullets and National Guard being sent politically to a left state so that you could rubber bullet protesters who are just like trying to get home through 2,000 National Guardsmen because this is what we're doing and not noticing that it's encroaching fascism? Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
Don Le Batard.
I hit cannonball. I swear I hit the cannonball sound, and that's what played.
He's back.
I mean,
Boy's back.
cannonball would have slapped there. Cannonball would have slapped there.
I've got some breaking news.
G2's fired.
Cannonball! Now I needed the breaking news. I needed the ka-chung.
Where'd that come from? Chris,
I thought someone in the back.
How is it that I got one Cody in here looking around for the ka-chung sound and another one in there?
Thought it was delayed or
saying,
something.
Where did this come from?
All the good work I did. I'm going to the penalty box.
Breaking news. I have the soups that have been eaten out of Lord Stanley's cup.
Okay, so the famous story we have around here is Madonna telling us that he was eating, what was it, like linguine with heavy metal bands for 3 days and a weekend out of
Probably
the cup.
Pantera if it was Texas.
Yeah, I think that we have that story somewhere in our files.
Yeah,
there,
but we lost our AP.
there have been... Okay, hold on a second, though. He was penalized for something. He just dismissed himself, and I don't even know what the penalty is here. Now, okay.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for adding nothing.
In 2022, Wade Klippenstein of the Colorado Avalanche ate borscht.
Whoa, that's not a soup either, because that's cold.
Worse.
Soup. No, wait a minute. Borscht is not soup.
It's beet soup.
Soup can't be cold.
Awful.
It's beet soup.
Soup cannot be cold.
Clam chowder, but it
it can.
has not been assigned to anyone. This is something, I assume it's when the Bruins won, but the player that did this, his name has not been released. Clam chowder has been eaten out of Lord Stanley, and a Finnish salmon soup was eaten by Anton Lundell, a white Anton, just 10 months ago.
Never heard of borscht before. What is borscht?
Russian beet soup.
No, I hate it. I don't even need to know what it is. I don't like it.
If you want a cold soup, you got to go gazpacho.
No, there's not cold soup.
Who's Gus?
Soup's got to be warm.
People
No,
sometimes pair it
not
with
a rule.
root beer floats. Borscht. Yep.
Soup's got to be warm.
Nobody's rule but yours.
Gestapo. We discussed
Whoa.
this
That's
yesterday.
a totally different thing, Dan. I don't know what's going on there.
No, that's what's happening right now.
We've talked about a lot of different
Hey,
things.
Jeremy, I want to apologize for what's going on in
Gestapo.
this studio today.
What a hilarious mistake.
That's
You should-
right.
you
Just
should
let
go.
it sit. No, I'm not going to go.
That was a bad mistake.
Agreed. Agreed.
Freudian.
You're not
That's
allowed
also
to go.
not a soup.
Gazpacho is not a soup, but also Gestapo is not a soup.
No soup for you.
Gazpacho is absolutely a soup.
It's not a soup. A soup can't be
love of
cold.
God.
We discussed this yesterday. It's why Mike Ryan's pissed today.
am.
It's where we started the show.
Today's
Okay,
the day to do it, though.
What if you're eating split pea soup? And
That's a good soup.
And you leave it out and it gets cold. Is that a cold soup?
That is a cold
Thank you.
soup,
The defense rests.
but it's
My
just
man.
a cold soup that's been left out.
It's,
Does it
it's a
cease being
cold
soup?
soup.
Does it cease being soup because you left it out?
It's cease being soup I'll eat. I'm not going to eat it cold.
So that's the barometer now.
So, I mean, it's like saying you have a ball of dough and you want to call it bread. It's like all the ingredients are the same, but it's very cold. I think that because once the soup goes cold, it's still a soup, but the intention is not for you to eat that soup cold.
It can remain a soup, but it's not a soup I'm going to eat, which puts it in a different category.
You're picky.
I'm not being picky here. You put it on the poll. Would you eat split pea soup
Would
cold?
who?
Would you eat split pea soup cold?
Yes, absolutely.
You would?
Yeah.
Is cereal soup then?
Yes, it's a breakfast soup.
No.
No.
We've
Please.
covered this.
No.
Breakfast soup.
It's not
That's a made-up phrase.
That is not.
It's a breakfast soup.
Pshaw.
We were talking pshaw?
Yes.
That's a proper response.
Thank you.
That's- yeah.
Pshaw?
Of course, yeah. You got
I have
pshaw.
not heard somebody utter pshaw Hold on a second.
Bring it
Guys,
back, Jack.
please look up the formal definition, Tony, right now of the
What
word.
is that?
Okay, it's
Gotta spell it.
Pishaw. I have not heard that phrase since the 60s. Chris Cody, please give me the back in my day music. I need to introduce the audience to Pshaw. Pshaw is a phrase of disgust that is old even for Greg Cody's parents.
Right.
I can't believe what he just said. That word has not been said by anyone in this country in 50 years.
Look at Tony's face. He can't even figure it out.
No, we've got breaking news.
We got breaking news in the NBA.
Play the sounder.
Play the cannonball, Chris.
Dan, the breaking news, it never stops. According to Shams Charania of ESPN, the Knicks requested permission to speak with Jason Kidd and given firm rejection from the Mavericks.
Pshaw. The Wolves and the Rockets also declined. So,
I mean, the Knicks not understand what a contract is? What is this? Get your own damn coach.
New York is full of itself right now. They just fired Thibodeau, and they're one of the best teams in the league, and we get who we want.
I say that from a market that stole their head coach 35 years ago and has never looked back.
That's correct. New York is in the market for a coach, and they have to do better than Thibodeau. They got to get their fan base excited because their fan base is already excited. If you're going to make this move, it's
How about
not
Phil Jackson? They should try that over there. Greg, I'm so sorry that your thought got interrupted. I don't think it's Messi fatigue. I just think it's a huge, giant misstep that they're opening this Club World Cup with two relatively small clubs compared to what's available. They could have opened with Real Madrid and they'd get a guaranteed packed house.
I know, but they're opening with Lionel Messi in Miami.
Well, open with
And the
Lionel
game is
Messi
in
with
Miami.
a much bigger opponent because as a brand, the club that they're going up against is not even a bigger brand than Houston Dynamo here in
Okay,
this
but
market.
what I would say to you, have you heard what is true of the reports that they're giving away tickets on campuses and that they're
I know for a fact they were giving away tickets
know
on
for a
campuses.
fact is different than I happen to know.
Yeah, I know people plugged in on this. There isn't. First off, in this market, if you're a sports fan, on Saturday, I think your attention's on the ice, even if you like soccer more, just because of the stakes. And yes, there are stakes for the Club World Cup, but this is the first of its kind. We really don't know what we're getting into here. Over time, it may become a big deal. We'll see what kind of spectacle they come up with, and maybe this will serve as proof of concept, and the rest of the tournament, which will have some very compelling matchups later on, might actually be a draw, and this might be a thing to excite people. But out the gates, I don't think you could come to Miami with Inter Miami, understand that's a brand, and that's normal logic. I get what that is. But to pair them against an Egyptian club, that's you're hoping for host nation World Cup type atmosphere when that's not the case. You're creating something out of nothing, and you got to come out the gate strong, I think.
One thing that's clear is that there was a huge miscalculation of the attraction of this opening game at Hard Rock Stadium. FIFA has already lowered prices like 3 times to the point where the face value now is a shell of what it used to be.
Okay, so we're looking at embarrassment here. Last time soccer came here, we had brown people climbing through the pipes at the stadium because we couldn't secure it correctly.
I was there too.
So we're going to have immigration issues now. All of this shit's going to come to the World Cup. Sports is not going to be free of this crap.
No, and like I said, this competition, when it was a Confederations Cup, was a dress rehearsal. And I don't think we're going to put our best foot forward here. A lot of people are nervous about traveling to the United States. You may be on one side or the other. I think most people are generally against illegal immigration. There's a common misnomer that people think that, well, you're progressive, you just want illegal immigrants here. That's not the case. It is a general consensus on these things. But people want to be comfortable. Armed guards don't make people feel comfortable in this country. Anytime you go traveling over to Europe and you see assault rifles over there in check-ins, you're like, whoa, what is this? This is not a normal part of American life. And you're bringing it to a sporting event. That's just not a chill vibe. That's not the atmosphere that I'm going to for a celebration of sport. So I think they got a problem on their hands, and I hope this serves as a reason to soften this presence
sounds
at
like
games.
predicting embarrassment. This sounds like that's where we're headed.
Well, Infantino will not rest until every seat is filled, and he's going to give plenty of tickets away, Greg.
Right. Even if he does, though, I don't think it's going to be filled.
Is Infantino a soup?